Today I am testing out my car rig. I purchased this a few years ago for a friend's project and we only used it then and I've never really used it since. So I thought I'd take it out and do a little bit more tests on it, see how well it works with certain conditions and for rentals.
So this is my original idea here. I was just gonna have my 50 plate here and then just put the camera on. But you can't pan or tilt to adjust, like fine tune everything. As you can see, that's the view. And if I want to tilt down, I have to like unlatch this, maybe this, or change it a lot more. So it kind of gives you a disadvantage of that. And right now it's my FX30 17 to 70, my polarizer I have on, and it polarizes to a certain degree. That's the thing about the polarizer; it's pretty limited still. But the alternative is to put on a fluid head, right? You probably don't need one this gigantic, but I'm going to use it just because it will be better for that situation. And one thing about this is it's gonna add some height, so you have to keep that in factor. But let's go ahead and put this on and see how it turns out. So like mentioned, it does add height, so I lowered this a little bit, had to expand this out just a little further so it can fit fine. And these suction cups are pretty strong. Like it'll last, I think, a good while. Obviously a suction cut, so you have to go back and retighten it and make sure everything works well. You know, you can't leave it on for hours. But yeah, I can adjust my tilt however I want, adjust my pan however I want, you know, without adjusting these. So there's an advantage with that. Of course, this unit comes with like rope ties you can tie it to the fender, so I would recommend that as well. And yeah, there's like a little bit of danger when you do this. If you're doing the scene, actors are driving, they have to talk. There's that, you know, so you have to be careful. Because say you have this scene, right, and then you want to go point the camera at this angle, you might be blocking the driver's view now. So you know, there's that danger you need to think of. But I'm going to see if I can set it up here, the side, and have it film through there. And hopefully it'll work. It might not work because, I don't know, it just might not work. We'll see.
This car rig comes with arms and ball heads, but those don't work very well, and that's why I opted out those for the Magic Arms. Those are more robust and they feel a lot better, a lot stronger, and they're much easier to use. And that's why I've kind of like just kind of converted it to Magic Arms rather than those default items.
All right, this setup, I think this will work quite well if you wanted to do it this way as well. Of course, you would tie this down, anchor it somehow, bring like a rope and bring it across, maybe tie it to the camera. I don't know, something. But I set all three sections on one side. It was kind of leaning this way more outwards, so I grabbed my magnet with a quarter 20 thread and just put another Magic Arm right there, just kind of make it feel more stable for this practice. I mean, I would still do that anyways, and then do the rope still. Obviously, you'll have your windows down probably for this situation. But it depends. If they're driving really far, you know, the sound could be an issue. But yeah, this seems to work. I want to test out a gimbal setup with this. I don't know if it's a good idea. It might not be. I don't know if I can do it today. But I want to see if I can set up a gimbal here, put the camera on it. It could be a follow camera. Instead of like pointing inside the car, this car will be like a follow car to record other cars. I think that's what the person that's going to rent it is planning to do. They probably put the gimbal, probably put the camera, but we'll try the gimbal, you know. So let's go ahead and see if I can get that setup going.
The gimbal setup wasn't as difficult, and it actually is pretty simple. It just adds more height, but instead you put a gimbal on. I didn't put the battery on it because it's going to be super high, so I just used my adapter plate and kind of ran it through V-mount, which finding a spot to place the V-mount is going to be a tricky part, so we'll see what I figure out in the future.
So it does work, definitely, obviously. Um, it does add significant height, as always. So that is something to be thought of. If you're like following the car right behind them, I think it's fine. I think it'll work fine. But I think if you're needing lower shots, you're gonna need a different setup maybe. I was thinking about seeing if I can set this on the side of the car like this, but I don't know if I can. It's about to rain right now, so I need to go do this real quick. But I have no way of mounting this V-mount. I can't just put a V-mount plate here because these aren't flat. I need at least 2 screw areas. So I need to figure that out. And I need to put the transmitter on top. You know, I can control it in the car, whatever. So that's going to be all the setup there. Obviously, this isn't fully balanced. So I'm going to just kind of lock it right now. But yeah, I think it's a good start for a setup that can potentially be used for production.
So I am back here in Arkansas doing another double jump production, and this is a 2-day shoot. The first day here, I didn't realize how much little audio was needed. I looked at the call sheet, or actually the script, and I noticed that there was just like very, very little audio needed, like maybe 1% of the entire day we ran audio. And I even like purchased more lavs for not this situation, for a different project that kind of didn't happen, but I decided to buy another set of DD Theos just because I needed a little bit more lavs for production and a little more options. One of my electrodes is kind of getting some RF interference, strange things happening to it, so I decided to buy, a Theos because it was pretty reliable, and it's kind of like helped out on some tight situations. Like if I forgot a micro SD card, there's a micro SD card in the transmitter there. So, things like that. This is a kind of a silly production. It's kind of on brand with Double Jump a little bit because, they kind of make goofy stuff, but it's kind of like the next level of goofiness. So we kind of used these lights in the event area most of the time. Of course, we set up our own lights in there for the majority of things to kind of light them up because, if they're in darkness, then it doesn't look good. I didn't help them light up anything. I just kind of stood around like literally 90% of the time. And if I was closer to a light, and the DP said, hey, can you move that? I just did it just because I wasn't doing anything. Otherwise, I didn't really do anything except capture a bunch of BTS. I went to grab lunch because I wanted to contribute in some way because, they've hired me to come to this day. And the owner, he kind of realized, he's like, not much for you to do today. I'm like, yeah, very true. So I just kind of helped here and there. But for the most part, I wasn't really needed. We used quite a bit of lights, but not that much lights. Strangely, this event center, this entire place uses one breaker, and we kept tripping breakers from the coffee machine, and we had to keep like switching it out or changing it up, But that's kind of weird in my opinion. I think an event center should kind of like separate the breakers a little bit, but I don't know. Yeah, most of the day the setup was pretty simple. We kind of ran a 600 watt or either a Nova, whatever they had, through the 8x8 diffusion through a T-pole, and then we just lit up surrounding areas with it. So you probably noticed everyone's kind of dressed up in these costumes. I don't really want to give away what the scenario is, but it's a pretty silly one, like I mentioned, and it's just kind of a fun shoot, really. So it was more fun than like work, and I enjoyed it a lot. So there isn't much to talk about here because it's kind of the same setups. We just moved things around, got closer, got tighter, got wider, did photos or whatever might was needed, and then we just it was kind of the same setup the whole time, and I was just kind of there, just like chilling, really, and capturing BTS, and kind of felt like I was working for Double Jump again, just capturing BTS for the day, and as well as I do other stuff. But there wasn't much BTS to capture as well because it was basically the same setup all the time, and a few lights here, a few lights there, might be modified here and there, but then not much difference there. The one time I did run sound, I just ran boom. There wasn't really needed for lavs, really. It would be too quick of a scene for a lav setup, so I just ran boom, made it simple. Day two, which is 2 days later, day one, we are still in Arkansas, but we are in a classroom this time, and this one uses a lot of audio, so I was 100% needed on this one. I wasn't able to capture as much BTS as the previous day, but of course, I'm working, so like we can't really do much there. I brought my camera there because they want to set up for the parents to view what's happening, the entire room there. So I just brought my camera, FX30 with the 13 mil wide lens, just set up, nothing special, nothing artistic, just a wide shot for everyone to view. So we are at an elementary school, and we are very tight schedule on this one. So we had to like finish by, I think it was 4 or 5 o'clock. So things had to get rolling real fast, but luckily like we have a good team. Howie is here today as well, so he was able to help out, and we got things done. This big screen here was that FX30 that just kind of views everything, and I would have to move it around once in a while just so like they could view it, because like they would block it with the 8x8 diffusion all the time. As you can see, these are the kids, so these are the kid version of the costumes that we saw the previous day, and yeah. This day for some reason was shorter than the previous day, but then it felt much longer. I got pretty tired. I don't know. I did lav every person who spoke, so there was 4 people total. I did lav them up. There was 3 kids and 1 adult, and with the costumes, it was real simple. It was felt, so it was really soft. I just taped it onto the inner shirt, and then everything was good. But yeah, this was basically a quick shoot, easy shoot, I would say. And I enjoyed it. It's funny, it's silly, and even though I got tired, it was worth it. See you guys next time.